It's so logical. And yet no one talks about it. In fact, for most women today, what do we talk about? Oh, you have a girls' night and you talk about your husband. The jerky is like, that's normal. That's actually not normal. It doesn't make any sense. That's the person that you go to sleep with and you build a life with, and yet we're just going to talk shit about them. What does that really say about you?
Okay, guys, Natalie Dawson here today, co-founder of Cardone Ventures here in Vegas for 10X GrowthCon, right?
Sure am.
You about to speak?
We'll see. We never released the list ahead of time.
He keeps it as a surprise.
It is a surprise. We got some big ones.
It's an
controversial people, some interesting people. It's going to be good.
That's cool. Have you been to the last few 10X GrowthCons?
I have. So when we partnered with Grant Cardone, because my husband and I went to a GrowthCon in 2019. So he got me tickets for Christmas because I was like, this Grant Cardone guy is going to change our life. And I think we should be business partners with him. And I forced him to read a bunch of Grant's books and decided for Christmas that year, he bought me GrowthCon Diamond Front Row GrowthCon tickets.
Wow.
I went to the event, 35,000 people in arena. Those 4 days changed my life. And we went up to Grant afterwards and said, are you interested in adding another $1 billion to your net worth? You know,
what an offer.
Looked a little funny. People make that offer to him all the time. Like people just bullshit their way through all sorts of, I'm going to 10X this. I'm going to do this for you. And he doesn't take the bait very often. And he didn't take our bait initially either, but we invested in his funds and we showed up as competent people around him. And 3 months later, we had a joint business called Cardone Ventures. And
wow.
We're running that for the last 6 years.
Within 3 months. That's impressive. So you convinced him.
We did.
Yeah, I told him when he just came on, he changed my life. I went to his second ever GrowthCon.
No way.
And that was my first conference ever.
Which one was it?
It was the one in Vegas at the Luxor, I think.
Okay.
Or no, it might have been Mandalay.
Mandalay, yeah.
Yeah, but I stayed at the Luxor.
Dang.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, I need to step it up.
Amazing.
Yeah, when you see that crowd, like you said, like 20, 30,000 people, it makes you want to just work your way up to that stage.
I feel like the 10X community, what it's done for me is just made me feel okay with being disappointed in myself. And it was the first time that I joined a group of people who were all just like high performers and not saying like, oh, it's okay, Natalie. Like you're doing okay. You're doing well. They were like, yeah, you haven't done anything. What have you created in life? What impact have you made? And if you were to go up on that stage, what would you talk about? If you had the opportunity to speak in front of 35,000 people, what's the thing that you've done or you've created or the impact that would be interesting? Like, could you even talk? Back then, 6 years ago, when I went to that event, I could not have spoken publicly.
I couldn't either back then.
I just would not. What would you have done? Would you like dry mouth? Was that your
I would have. Yeah, I had terrible anxiety back then.
Okay. Has that gone away?
Mostly. Now it's situational.
Okay.
So it'll pop up here and there, but I'm aware of it. But back then I had no control over it. Yeah.
Cool.
I would get invited to talk and I'd say no.
Yeah. Same. I would do the same thing. I had a terrible public speaking experience when I was 20 years old. I just dropped out of college and was working for a company where I was making this leadership presentation in front of 40 leaders. Everybody was older than me. I had been working on this for a little while. I'd never really had stage fright up until this moment. And this moment changed the trajectory of my life. And I get up to make an hour-long presentation. It's 8:05 in the morning. And I start the presentation off. And 5 minutes in, for whatever reason, I turned around, I looked at the screen, and then I went back to the audience. And when I went back to look at the audience, there was something that just instantly took over me. It's like full-blown anxiety. Never experienced that in my life. I finished the rest of my hour-long presentation in about 5 minutes. And I ended the presentation. Mind you, it's 8:10 in the morning. I end the presentation by clapping and being like, well, you guys can go to the bathroom now. They're like, we just sat down. Like, our coffee's still hot. What do you mean we can go to the bathroom? It was mortifying. And for 4 years, I couldn't speak in front of groups. If it was more than 2 or 3 people, like the words could not come out of my mouth. It was a very scarring experience for me.
Dang, what got you through that? How'd you get over that hurdle?
Going to GrowthCon.
Really?
I sat there and watched Elena Cardone. And it's like, I am so freaking inspired by what she's able to do. Her kids can write their own speech in front of 35,000 people. And Natalie is just too self-important to not figure out this fear, this mumbling that would happen in my head that would come out of my mouth. Like, what am I even doing? So I hired a public speaking coach after that. I took our own 10X stages. Like, again, at the time we weren't partners with them. And I just started actually making speeches. Every day I'd make a speech, whether it was a toast at dinner or I would just make up reasons to give talks. So reps.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Public speaking is actually the #1 fear in the world.
It's horrendous. It's awful.
I think a lot of people learn it from public school, honestly, because I hated it because of public school.
Why?
You're presenting on topics you don't care about, and it makes you like question yourself. But if I public speak about podcasting or whatever I'm good at, I don't get worried at all. Like, I know I'm confident. I've done the work. As soon as I start speaking, it goes away.
I think that's the difference, is when you've done the work, you don't feel like you're a fraud.
Right.
Or for me, and I don't know if you experience this as a man, I think of this as like a male-female kind of thing. I wasn't working out. I had just kind of like let myself go a little bit. I was probably 15, 20 pounds heavier than I am. Just like had no muscle mass, just ate whatever I wanted, but I never felt good in work clothes. And when I thought of public speaking, I always imagined I have to be in work clothes. So I'm going to go get up on stage, have all these lights on me, and I'm not going to feel confident in my body. And then I'm not going to feel confident in what I'm saying. So it's just going to create this like cycle. So I actually also got in the gym in order to be able to publicly speak.
Helps your confidence, right? Yeah, I struggled with confidence growing up massively. Like huge introvert, only child, and just lacked it. But business helped me gain confidence, having success in business and going to the gym and stuff.
Yep. You gain competence and all of a sudden you have confidence. It's a weird thing.
And it impacts all aspects of life now.
So true.
So a lot of people are struggling with confidence. So
it's really sad.
It's a big issue.
I think people just don't know what to get stats in. That's what I always say. It's like, what is your stat? Like, you have to get a stat in something. And when I didn't feel confident, it was because I was talking about things that I didn't know anything about. And I didn't have a stat. There wasn't something I could say like, hey, I went and did this thing. I was kind of like toying in things. And today's society with social media and all the different things people can be watching and consuming, there's not a lot of people producing. So you're not creating stats. You're just consuming.
Right.
But once you have the stats, you become unstoppable. Once you learn that you can get really good at something, it makes you feel good about yourself. It's just like this game that you just want to become, this is my experience, I just want to become better at more things so that I can gain more confidence, be able to help more people. And then the real game becomes, how do I help other people gain confidence so that they can then go do things? And it just becomes this thing that really is a ripple effect.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what you're doing now. You got tons of companies under your belt, right? How many are in the portfolio at the moment?
Right now we have 10 companies. We have our core business, which is Cardone Ventures. And then one of our largest portfolio companies is 10X Health, we're a majority owner in. And we have a handful of other home services businesses. We just partnered with Tarek and Heather El Moussa on a beauty business. And we're launching our first fund in the upcoming months, which is really exciting.
Wow. Big things.
Yeah.
So you don't care about the industry, or do you apply your mindset principles to every single industry?
We do have some industries that we're particularly bullish in. I would say the health and wellness space. We have a good amount of capital invested there. And then also the home services space, roofing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC.
So the high ticket stuff, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Low tickets, just the margins are too thin for me, and there's a lot of logistics.
Solve people's problems who can pay to get their problem solved. If you're solving people's problems and they can't afford to pay you, it doesn't matter that you're the greatest problem solver, you have the greatest product in the world. If they can't pay to solve that problem, you're not going to be able to create a business around it.
Right. And now
people just chase all of the small problems. There's no reason, there's no money there. Don't do that. There's money other places. Let's go solve really big problems.
Yeah. I mean, Elon, I think it was Elon. He's like, you're paid in proportion to the difficulty of the problem you solve.
Yes.
That's so true.
Speaking of Elon, we were talking about this a little bit before the show started. So I was at Mar-a-Lago a couple of weekends ago, and I am just hanging out. I'm about to go up to my hotel room. A friend of ours is a member. Elena Cardone is a member. And I'm hanging out, and there in the patio, this is the same weekend of the Zelensky episode. Elon and Donald Trump are just sitting on the patio. Donald's drinking his Diet Coke, DJing for the crowd. That's what he does. Elon Musk is sitting there. They're just shooting the shit. Two of arguably the most powerful people from a business and a political standpoint in the world leave Washington, D.C. on the weekend to go recharge, to continue to talk business, but also to DJ and to play a Spotify playlist. And it was fascinating to me to just like, I've never really thought about what presidents do on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They hang out with Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's weird to view them as normal people, right?
Yeah.
They're president of the country.
Yeah.
That's funny. How was his playlist? Be honest.
The playlist was interesting. Of course, there was YMCA. That's his song. My favorite song was actually the Star Spangled Banner. He has a version of the Star Spangled Banner that actually has him speaking in different parts of it.
Wow.
So it's like,
that sounds like something Trump would do.
Yeah. And it's like him singing or him talking and then the rest of the song. But it was cool, like just to be in proximity to that much power. We were around him.
What's up, guys? Shout out to RX Sugar, one of my favorite snack brands. I'm about to try a flavor I've never had before, vanilla cream. Let's see what we got here. That's solid. I love vanilla. It's my favorite ice cream flavor. Definitely check them out, guys. RX Sugar.
We actually gave him an award on New Year's Eve just a couple months ago. And before the event, this is what he did. He showed up to the event space to check it all out, to ensure that the seating is right. And this man's about to become the president of the United States of America. He's still showing up to the venue to check out the lighting, the staging. And as he was leaving, I was standing right by the door, and he stopped and he looks at the wall at Mar-a-Lago, which is his country club in Palm Beach. And he looks at the wall and he says, the paint's chipped there. We need to get the paint fixed. I'm like, this man is about to be the leader of the free world. And he still today cares about the details of this place where he wants the paint to get fixed. And the second thing that was so fascinating to me, especially for business owners, because that's who I work with every day. So he makes the paint comment, and his chief of staff or whoever, it wasn't like the actual chief of staff, but the person that was responsible for the property was like, okay, great, we'll get that handled. And he's still staring at the paint chip on the wall. And he goes, and don't let me forget to pay Joe, because I think I forgot to include him in the Christmas bonus this year. I don't remember writing his check. On New Year's Eve, to think that he is paying attention to his people and their incentive compensation and remembering to pay his people's incentive compensation, to me is why he is as successful as he is, regardless of what people believe left, right, center on politics. Donald Trump's ability to run a business and to pay attention to the details is why he is successful. And I think it's easy for business owners today to get really caught up in, oh, I'm more important now. I don't do certain things. I have a staff for that. They get a little bit cocky as success happens.
Right.
And how many business owners are actually paying attention to their team's incentive compensation? I believe that's what separates great business owners from terrible business owners. Great business owners don't really care about their compensation. They're good financially. They review their P&L. They review their balance sheet. They understand what's happening on a monthly basis in their business. But they care and fight for every single day their team's compensation. If you don't have incentive metrics for your team, if your team doesn't know how they win working with you, you're never going to get a great team. You're never going to build anything big. So Donald Trump on New Year's Eve this year is focused on his team's incentive compensation, which is a lesson for all of us as business owners, is how often are we really thinking about our teams and how much money they're making and the opportunity that they're going after through working with us.
I love that. He's always been great with people, great at communication, I've noticed. Like he could talk to anyone and they would like him. Yeah, he's just present. Even though he's a billionaire, he'll talk to like someone on the street randomly. And it's just impressive to me. You know, some people, when they get to that level of wealth or success, they lose touch with reality, they call it. But it doesn't seem like that's happened to him. He stays pretty grounded.
I can't imagine what it'd be like to live in a fishbowl. I mean, you have everybody in the world, wherever you go, wanting to take photos, pictures, like get some sort of piece of you. So to still be able to maintain that curiosity of life and other people, knowing that they probably do want a photo with you or something from you, is really an admirable quality.
Yeah. Yeah. You hear about that bubble in DC in politics, how these guys just get so lost in everything. They lose sense of reality, right?
What was wild to me to think about, not to like make this whole show a Donald Trump show, but since I had all these epiphanies while I was sitting there with him, it's like most presidents don't have the independent wealth to be able to take Air Force One from Washington, D.C. on the weekend to go to their home. I don't think Joe Biden wanted to drive or fly to his house after a long week at the Oval Office. When you're in the Oval Office, most of them are like, I'm staying in the Oval Office. Right. This is a dream. I've been fighting my whole life, my whole career. I've been trying to get here. I'm getting the best service. What does he do? No, he leaves to go to his home because his home actually has people. His home is Mar-a-Lago. That's where he lives. His home has people that love him, that support him, that are there. People cheer and clap and are excited for him to be there. But most presidents don't actually have that ability because they aren't as financially well off as he is. So for this presidency, he's just going to be hanging out at the Mar-a-Lago. The Winter White House is what they call it.
A lot goes down at Mar-a-Lago.
Sure does.
Paying for access is something I'm a fan of.
Yes.
I'm in a few masterminds. I pay for the best ticket at conferences when I can.
Yep.
It's changed my life. Yeah, I know people try to cheap out on that kind of stuff, but I've seen a direct ROI for me at least.
Totally. People who think that that's the best way to save money. They are missing what the game is. When we showed up to that growth conference, we didn't know Grant. There was 35,000 people in the room. How do we show up and be different and really differentiate ourselves? One of the things that I think people don't do when they show up to events like that is maybe they'll pay. A lot of people can pay and they like throw that around.
Yeah.
But are they actually there? And are they present? And do they take notes? Like, that's the most respectful thing that you could do to anybody in power. If I'm in a room with somebody that I respect, I'm not going to pretend like I'm better or I'm cool or I'm anything. Like, I'm going to hang on every single word. I'm going to take notes and actively show that I'm interested in what they're saying, because it's so easy to just look around, even in meetings that people run with their team members. You look around and no one's paying attention. They're on their phone.
Yep.
They're not really showing or demonstrating that they're totally on the ball, that they've got this, that they're able to duplicate what the person is saying and ask really great questions. So if you're showing up in the front of the room, and I'm sure you do this because you're successful, it's like, yes, you can pay. And that's step one. And then step two is I'm in my seat. The person sees that I'm there. Grant saw that we were there the whole time taking notes. We bought products to demonstrate that we're not just there to do business. Grant always says, to do business with me, do business with me. Like, if you want to be a partner with me, you want to do something, okay, demonstrate to me that you're actually willing to do business. So you continue to throw down money. And my husband wore like really sparkly shoes because his thought process, like the lights would hit the shoe. And so the shoe could like get a glimmer into Grant's eye. And you know, what we did end up working because obviously we got their attention and
gotta stand out.
Partners. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. The first step is front row, right? And then you try to get into backstage.
Okay.
That's where you make good connections.
Okay. What's your strategy for backstage?
So now that I have the podcast, whoever's organizing the event, I'll be like, yo, let me interview your speakers backstage. I'll get you X amount of views because we're getting 150 million views a month right now. So I could guarantee tens of millions of views for your speakers. It'll look good for the conference. It'll help you move tickets. So it's like a win-win. So you got to provide a valuable offer because they're not going to let anyone backstage. So if you're watching this, figure out what you can provide backstage. And that's the spot to be at.
I love it.
I've gotten so many guests backstage.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Ty Lopez, all these big guys on social media backstage.
Yeah, because you have something that they want.
Yeah.
So what is, for somebody listening or watching, like what is the thing that you have that somebody actually wants, that they'd be interested in you for a split second? Because that's all you have. You have like a moment. You like paid all this money and you have your chance. What are you going to say in your chance? You can say, I want a freaking selfie.
No,
even if
I
you
never
do want a
ask for that.
selfie, you don't ask for the selfie.
No, you lose respect for people when they ask you, right? Same.
Instantly.
Because you can't treat them as equal from there because it's like you're fanboying.
Exactly.
It's like, come on, dude.
Exactly. I told Brandon, I was like, you have to act like a hot chick.
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean you have to act like a hot chick? I'm like, a hot chick, when they see like with somebody that they're interested in, they're not like instantly just like clamoring all over the person. Hot chick pretends like they don't even exist.
Facts.
It's like, don't like, oh my gosh, I read every single book and don't do that. That's not what you do. What I made Brandon do, because at the time, this was in 2019. So my husband had sold his business in 2016 for 77 times earnings, and 150 plus million was a purchase price, was the published purchase price. It was actually more in total dollars, but we were nobodies. We didn't have any social media following. I didn't have the social media presence that I had today. Brandon had like 200 followers back in the day. And I'm like, if we meet Grant and we say to him, we want to add an extra $1 billion to your net worth, how is he going to know that we're legit? So I forced my husband, who's like traditional private equity guy. Like, he did not want to partner with Grant and Elena Cardone. He wanted to like go raise traditional private equity and go work with corporate people in the States. I'm like, I don't think so. We have a skill set that we can join forces with people who are already in the social media space, who are talking to business owners every single day using their phones. And so I made him do a photo shoot in the suit. And he's like, this is ridiculous, because my perception is that most men do not love photo shoots, my husband included. He's not excited about it. And I did the photo shoot. And on the business cards that I had made for GrowthCon, we launched our website that morning so that it was ready. So that if Grant actually ended up meeting us and we were able to give the business card, like there would be a legit website that would tell the story. But also I put the photo of Brandon on the business card. How many events do you go to and you just meet tons of people, but you don't actually remember who they are, what they do. So not just using the business card is like, my name's Bob, this is my business, here's my phone number, and here's ABC Landscaping. Okay, there's a picture of Sean. Oh, okay, I remember meeting Sean. Yeah, Sean had that podcast. Oh, and the thing, it says podcast on here. Like, you use your business card in a different way today than what traditional business cards were used for. And Grant, I kid you not, this was part of how we became partners with him. Grant, we gave him the business card, and a week later on Instagram, out of nowhere, Grant posts a video on his stories that says Brandon's business card. Brandon Dawson. I wish I could do the Grant Cardone accent. Brandon Dawson. That's like very southern. What did he say? Brandon Dawson. This is a good dude right here. Brandon Dawson. He's my new friend. And he like pulls it over the business card and like blocks out all of his information. But that was part of what allowed us to be legitimate, was having a freaking business. Because like you got to give somebody something.
That one little change to the card.
One little thing. It was his photo and he looks all smiley. It's a cute picture of my husband. And so anyway.
Well done. You had a plan and you executed.
You have to have a plan before you show up. If you don't have a plan before you show up, what the frick are you doing?
I'm the same way. When I see the speaker lineup, I have a plan for every single speaker.
Yeah. If you had the chance to meet them, what would you say? What's interesting? What research can you do?
It's already prepared for me for each single person. And I leverage existing connections. So if I see them go on a podcast of someone I'm friends with, I'll bring up their name, establish reputation, and then I'll provide value to them.
Because the worst thing that you can do to somebody in Grant's position or anybody who's powerful is be like, oh, you know what? What advice would you give to be successful? They've written books on this. I watched every single YouTube video that Grant and Elena had put out, which was in the thousands before we were partners with them. I stopped hanging out with my friends. I read every book because I wanted to be business partners. I knew that if they were real, which we went to the event to actually figure that out. If this whole thing was real that we saw on Instagram and on YouTube, like these are the people in our lives that we are missing. We can help them. They can help us. And this could be the greatest business partnership that we could ever create. And so I just went to town taking notes, watching everything, reading everything, so that you don't ask the dumb questions. It's not like, what would you say to your younger self? If you were 20 years old, what would you tell yourself?
I hate that one.
It's the dumbest question. It's a question that somebody who doesn't know you would ask.
Yeah.
It's just a layup. Instead, it's like, hey, I remember you mentioning that you were struggling with drugs when you were 20 years old and that your dad had left or he had died when you were 8 years old. And it was really hard for you and your mom. When you were 20, what did you do to get yourself out of the position of being really impacted by the father figures that you had and the drug use that you're in? Like, that's a freaking good question.
Yeah.
You only ask that question because you actually know the story and you did your research.
Yeah. When you're referencing the ages of their life events, they get impressed.
Yeah. But like, you can't do it. Like, you can't be a super stalker. I was borderline a super stalker. Have you ever had super stalkers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not fun. Yeah. There's a point, like I've been on one podcast, he does 30 hours of research for each guest. And that's borderline, but it's impressive the type of questions he comes up with. Like he made Dana White cry because he just knows a lot, you know? So there's a limit.
A lot of respect that's transferred through that. I'm sure you don't do that type of prep for everybody, but you do prep.
I do prep, yeah. Can't do none.
No, you can't do none.
It's disrespectful to the guests if you're doing no prep.
Everyone's wasting their time.
Yeah. I also hate the one where it's like, can I pick your brain over coffee?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
The answer is no.
I hate that one.
You cannot pick my brain.
Like, why are you going for the ask on the first question?
Yeah. That's a huge ask. You just don't even realize, though, how huge of an ask that is until you're in a position where people are asking you that question. And the reality is, if you are in a position of being successful, you are sacrificing time with your family, you're sacrificing time with your friends, and you're sacrificing time with your clients and your team members by going and meeting a stranger for 15 minutes or 30 minutes so they can pick your brain. Like that is the trade-off that successful person is making. They can't do those other things because they're quote unquote you're picking their brain.
Right.
So it's just a massive disrespect to all of these other people that they can't actually spend time with because they're so busy building and creating what they're creating. So what are your choices? You can either become a client. Okay, great. You could probably pick my brain if you become my client. You could be a team member of mine. I'm happy to have you pick my brain. There's moments where there's one-on-ones. There's moments in the car. There's a whole bunch of opportunities if you're a team member. You can't become my family unless you marry my brother. My brother is single, so maybe you could pick my brain if you marry my brother, start dating him. And it'd be kind of difficult to become a friend because I don't know you, so that'd be a little weird, right? So you really have to think about if somebody is successful, like who else you're competing with for their time and energy, and what are you giving them? You're obviously giving them a huge opportunity to get visibility in the podcast.
Yeah.
It's a huge, like you're additive, not just taking.
Yeah.
Take their brain.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you always had a working relationship with Brandon, or was it personal at first and then you became business partners later?
I've known Brandon since I was 12.
Wow.
My mom was his doctor for 25 years. He was my neighbor growing up.
Wow.
Which is weird for people who are new to this, new to me. Hi, my name is Natalie Dawson. It's great to be spending the last 20-ish minutes with you. It sounds really weird. And honestly, I don't like talking about that piece too much because I think I'd rather have people get to know us because the story is just like so wild and shocking. But yeah, I've known Brandon since I was 12 years old. I went to high school with his oldest 2 kids. I was friends with his oldest daughter, and I fell in love way later. I was valedictorian in my high school class.
Nice.
I got full ride academic scholarship to college, attended the London School of Economics. Like I wanted to be this like smart, I don't need a man, I'm going to be a lawyer and get my MBA and just like do the career thing. And I literally out of nowhere fell in love. And Brandon is twice my age. This is like everything that I was so judgmental about for other people. Like I would look at other people that looked like us and be like, I cannot believe she just like devalued herself and what is she doing and what does she see in him? Oh, she just married him for the money, all that stuff. Brandon is the single most incredible human that I've ever met. He is my best friend. I feel like I am the luckiest person on the face of the planet to be able to be married to him. And it was really hard for me at first because I just felt all of this pressure of what everybody was going to think about me and felt very not confident and not secure in myself. So today, Brandon, we've now worked together for 10 plus years, and I get to see behind the scenes, like we're partners. We're partners in life. We're partners in business. We built this last business together, and I just respect the hell out of him. And I think that's hard to say. Most businesses that have family in it, they figure out family. Yeah, but they don't actually respect each other, and they can't still confidently say in front of thousands of people, like this person's the real dude. I really vouch for this person. And I feel that in spades with my partner. So.
That's beautiful. Yeah, there is that negative stigma when there's a big age gap. Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of shame, right?
It was, especially because, I didn't need the money. Like it actually, I thought the money was gross. It was like,
really?
I really did. I'm a different person 10 years later. Yeah. But back then I had sold all my possessions. I was working under bridges in downtown Portland and was like I'm going to just like help save the planet one homeless person at a time.
Humanitarian.
Yeah. And Brandon was like, listen, what if you could learn how to build a business that could create financial resources to impact millions of people versus you being able to impact a couple hundred? I was like, that's a good question.
Right.
I thought about it like that before. So he's just changed my life since I was very young. And he's a genius in business. He and I work really well together. I'm book smart. I will read things. I'm like structure and process and love all of the complexities of business from a structure standpoint. And he is a visionary and he understands strategy and relationships and things that no textbook could ever teach you. And I view life as a gift to be able to build what we're building together for the time that we're able to do this.
Yeah, you balance each other well. I realized you need someone like that because I hate phone calls. I hate business meetings, but I got a right-hand man for that. And it's just 10x the business, honestly.
Interesting.
Because I'm an introvert.
Okay.
Huge introvert.
That's shocking because you don't seem like an introvert.
Yeah, I could toggle it on and on for podcasts, on and off, but a lot of podcast hosts are introverts if you look at the top shows, which I've studied all the top shows.
I don't know that I believe in this thing called introverts.
Really?
Yeah.
In what sense?
I think it might be just like made up.
Yeah, I wonder what the actual like factors and definition is behind it, but I've taken tests that say I am. So I don't know. Like I've taken the 16 personalities test.
Is it a blood test? Like how do you...
I don't know how, and I'm sure different websites have different like definitions for it.
Oh, bullshit.
You think so?
I think there are labels that we put on ourselves.
I do believe there are labels that are misleading, but I think there are people that are naturally just more shy and they're not as expressive. And then you got the people that are more outspoken. So that's what I'd consider an introvert. Like they keep to themselves more. So I listen more than I talk. So that to me is an introvert.
But you're able to do this and be in front of millions of people. Yeah,
but I have an 80-20 rule on my show. I let the guests speak 80% of the time usually. Yeah. But I love being an introvert, honestly, because I'm a nerd. I study books. I read, like listen to audiobooks, podcasts.
So the business partner does what?
All the business stuff, the sponsorships, I do a lot of in-person events. He does all the sponsors for that. He does the venue. I just show up and get people there.
Interesting.
So it's a great dynamic.
Interesting.
Yeah, shout out to Charlie, man.
Let's go, Charlie. Everybody needs a Charlie in there.
Everyone needs a Charlie.
Let's go, Charlie.
Yeah. So I just focus. The thing for me is I focus on what I'm good at, podcasting, coming up with questions and interview topics, and that's it. Everything else is outsourced. And I used to be a huge micromanager, and that's why I was stuck at 7 figures a year for 7 years.
What did you learn about micromanaging?
I just tried to do everything. And I was like, I've been doing the same revenue for 7 years straight. Like, how do I grow? I need a team.
Yeah.
So this is
changes everything.
Past 2 years have changed a lot with the team. Yeah. Were you stuck at any moments throughout your career, revenue wise?
No.
You've always had growth?
Yes. Besides a business before this business, I was really excited about the space. It was in the dental space. And there was a bunch of different opportunities that were exciting for the growth of the business. But if the core technology wasn't working, then there really was no long-term in the business model. We found out that after investing a lot of money and a lot of time into it, that the technology integration just wasn't going to work. We were trying to essentially take all of these different dental practice management softwares and put them so that a dentist, it didn't matter if they were on EagleSoft or whatever system they chose, they could actually see a dashboard to understand their adjusted production and understand their all their different metrics. And the integration, the software person that we were using at the time, essentially like, yeah, we can't do this after researching this for 6 months. And after you guys paid us hundreds of thousands of dollars, we just aren't going to be able to make it happen because of how these softwares like change things in the back end. I'm not a technologist, but our business was based off of like the theory and the thesis for the business was based off this technology. And so I was 24 years old and had to fire 50 people, and shut down a business. And, they already thought that I wasn't competent or didn't know what I was doing. And I probably wasn't competent and didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't figure out how to turn it around, but I was so invested in where I was going that I just like, for whatever reason, I had some sort of internal strength at the young age of 23 to just be like, I'm not going to let this define me, even though this feels like a complete failure and everybody is saying essentially like I was wrong and they were right.
Yeah, I think when you're that young, you have a healthy level of delusion sometimes. You don't know what you're getting yourself into, right? And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That happened to me too.
Did it?
Yeah, I've made and lost my money twice already.
Okay.
And I'm talking millions of dollars. So I'm looking back at it now, I'm so thankful because it made me grow even more, but it sucked at the time. I had an ego check for sure.
Yeah. And when people say mean things about you, when they hurt, what I've realized is there's like, in some cases, just like a tiny bit of truth to it. And that really, you can either choose to do two things. You can cave into it and just take it as a loss and always think of yourself as a loser. Or you can say, okay, I lost. That sucked. I didn't know something. I'm going to take this and convert this and use this for fuel for me to figure out the next thing and just not quit. And by the grace of God, I chose the second option. Just wasn't going to stop after that one loss. But it is easy to just like take what somebody says and be like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. Why does it hurt so bad then?
Yeah.
It got you. So like, why?
Yeah, it's easy to lie to yourself.
Yeah. So how do you balance both sides? That's at least how I look at negativity or hate. Like, how do I balance both sides? What could potentially be true? And how do I work to make sure that thing that might be true right now that like stings a little bit isn't true in the future? Because you could be inexperienced right now.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying like, you're an inexperienced idiot. You're just a kid. You don't know what you're doing. You're like, well, I've built this thing. So like, I kind of know what I'm doing, but I am inexperienced and I don't know everything. So how do I keep doing that and handle where I'm at today and still feel confident in where I'm going in the overarching direction?
That's something I've been navigating a lot because I probably have one of the most hated podcasts in the world.
Really?
Because of the guests I have on.
Interesting.
I have on the most controversial people in the world.
And how do you handle it?
Look at who's hating. That matters to me a lot. So like if Grant Cardone told me I'm messing up, I'm listening. But if it's some random comment with no profile picture, 300 followers, I'm like, what is that? Like a fake account. You can't even comment on your real page. Well, I do take lessons from some of the comments. Like there's some interviews where I could have asked better questions. I could have been more prepared. So I'll go back and I'm going to have that person on again. David Pacman, huge liberal. And I wasn't prepared. He basically took me to town. And I'll admit I lost that one. I wasn't prepared for a debate because that's not my style, but that's his style. And I wasn't ready for that.
Interesting.
So I'll learn from some of the hate. Like you said, there's a little truth in all the comments, but a lot of the hate is biased too.
So true. And what I've realized with the hate is nobody cares.
After 2 days, no one cares.
No one remembers. No one cares. We're in for the very first time ever, we're in a lawsuit right now. And the person we're in a lawsuit with is a very public figure and has decided to smear us. And we don't have lawsuits. We don't have people who are unhappy with us. We have a group of people who are just like, they support us. They're rooting for us. And so this has been a little bit of uncharted territory. And what's so interesting about it is like, no one cares. No one actually cares. In the moment, it can feel like people care and you can allow it to just entirely take over. But think of all of the wild stuff that happens in politics. Think of all the wild stuff. I mean, this Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, like crazy stuff. Do people really care?
No one's talking about it anymore.
Remember? No. So if you can just like move through it and not honestly have so much self-importance that it just entirely swallows you. We have a saying where we just keep being successful.
100%.
Regardless of what happens, just show up, be a good person, keep being successful. Because that's really the only thing you can do. But it can be easy to just let people who say negative things just like, oh, everyone's thinking this. Not everyone.
Yeah.
Handful of people. Okay. Am I good with losing that handful of people? Totally. I got good people over here. I'm doing good things. Do I need to clean up this area of my life a little bit? Cool. I'm going to start cleaning up that area and figuring out how I can be better and improve in this specific thing. But it doesn't mean that the negativity is actually true or I should stop going.
Best way to deal with negativity is success, in my opinion. I don't even talk back anymore. I just succeed. Yeah. I climb the podcast rankings. I get more views. I have on A-list celebrities, whatever it is. Like, what are you going to say about that?
Exactly.
Also, you can't fake in person stuff. So like a lot of people are like, you have these followers. I'm getting 1,000 people in any city I go to in a room. Like, who else can do that?
So cool.
Like, because a lot of people have followers, but they don't know how to monetize.
They can't convert it.
Yeah.
They have all this attention, but the attention was built off of some like
clickbaity stuff.
Exactly. It was like the cheap way to get attention. And so you can keep getting cheap attention. A lot of people get a lot of cheap attention on the internet, but is somebody really adding value to your life? Is somebody really a real person that you can stand behind, you can believe in, that you can trust, that you're like, oh, I'd be interested because of the way this person actually lives their life, not the way that they just put out bullshit content, to where I'm interested in hearing from them and learning from them because they have a life that I want to live. They have some qualities of a life that I want to live. They've done something, they've created something, they're successful in some way.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd rather get 1,000 views on a video that provides value than 1 million on something that's hurting society.
Did you used to have that perspective?
No, and there is still an element of me where I am chasing views naturally because as a podcast, you're based off your views, but I know that in the back of my head. So like every month I'll sprinkle in like a controversial guest, like an OnlyFans girl or whatever, just to get views. But I do want to provide value and help people. That is the goal of the show. But it's hard to do that on a super massive scale because people just don't care.
They don't want it.
Like you could provide amazing advice from a billionaire and it'll get 5,000 views. And then you could have on Lily Phillips, who slept with 100 guys in a day, just gets 5 million views.
Did you have that type of those people on
She came on
show?
a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's a balance because I am trying to sell this thing one day.
Okay.
So I need the viewership and I need the sponsorship dollars.
Interesting.
So it's a tricky dynamic for me.
That is a tricky dynamic. I didn't realize that. I didn't do enough research on your show.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Well, I let the audience decide on how they feel about the guests. I try to stay as neutral as I can.
Interesting. Because that's how you have to.
That's just my style. I'm not trying to piss off or burn bridges. I'll go to the RNC. I'll probably go to the DNC if they let me. We'll see. I interview Democrats, Republicans, all sorts of people.
Interesting. Do you ever feel bad that you're putting out a message that could negatively impact people, even if it's not your message?
Sometimes, yeah. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But I try to let the audience ultimately decide. I think they're pretty educated these days. But
the audience is educated?
I think mine is, yeah.
Really?
I get a lot of feedback from the comments.
That they're educated?
That they know, like when Lily Phillips came on, she got pretty destroyed in my comments.
It's sad to think about. You know, I think everybody who creates content online has to navigate this, like, what am I willing to be controversial about? What am I not willing to be controversial about?
Yeah.
And
you have to.
Yeah. Or else
it's unfortunate, but it's just a reality.
Yeah.
People love drama.
But then, of course, people are educated. I just think people are really freaking confused.
That's true too. There's a lot of misinformation and stuff on the internet.
Yeah. I'm like, why am I even listening to somebody talk about sleeping with 100? You know what I mean? Like, no shade. Like, it does not come from a place of judgment or whatever. It's just like, what am I trying to do? I go back to everything in my life. I'm like, where am I trying to go? What am I trying to do? Okay, how do I put things in my life that help me get there? Because my goals and my aims, if I want to do these things, should be worthwhile. It should have some sort of purpose. If they don't have purpose and they aren't worthwhile, why do I want to do them?
Right.
So if you really question at that level, it's like then all of the content that I watch and all the people that I talk to and all the things that I do would be to help me get to this worthwhile thing.
You're right.
So it's clarifying that first and making that target really freaking big, because I think people are capable of creating incredible things on this planet. There's so much disaster and negativity and just like really awful stuff that happens every single day on this planet. For a capable person to be able to target just one of those issues, like I can't save my goal is not to save the ocean. That's not my thing. Although I think that that's a really worthwhile goal and somebody should do it. That's just not my work here on this planet. So it's like this interesting idea. And I think about this often because I do create content myself and like, what am I willing to do? What am I willing to say? But like also what am I willing to consume, because so many people are confused, and am I adding to the confusion? And I think when this is just my own view.
Yeah.
And this was not even meant to be controversial with you, but like where I've landed on this for myself is I just don't want to add to people's confusion. I don't want to contribute to people just like being uncertain or like doubting their life choices or being worried that they shouldn't like go in this direction. I want people to learn how to make more money, to be better business owners, to be able to provide for their communities, to believe in themselves. And that's everything that I think, eat, breathe, consume, and anything outside of that, I'm like, maybe next lifetime.
Yeah. I love that. You know what you're here for.
Yeah.
You know,
it's true.
If I'm being honest, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to.
How old are you?
28.
28.
Yeah.
I'm 31, so I'm not that much older.
Wow. So you figured it out pretty young, relatively, I feel like. A lot of people get lost for a while.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get lost because it's so freaking confusing. You have people out there on the internet telling you a whole bunch of stuff that it's like, that's again, going back to Grant and Elena and my husband. Like I so vehemently just like believe and trust in them because I actually see behind the scenes and they're not confused. They're great parents. They're great spouses. They're great team members. Like they show up consistently. And so when I look at people who are successful or look at people who are giving me advice, I really look at like, who are they hanging out with and who's better in their life?
Right.
If people aren't better and there aren't people next to them saying like, hey, I'm rooting for Sean. Like Sean's freaking awesome. The way he shows up, the way he helps me, the way he cares about my family. If people in your life aren't like that, I'm like Sean might be a liability to me because why can't he be great to the people that are around him? I think that through every single interaction that I have with people. And so if you don't have people at a certain level of success who are saying, I'm rooting for this girl because she's impacted me. And at some level you should question, like, is she really real? Because real people attract real great people.
Yeah. What's your opinion on friendships if they're not on your financial level?
I don't care about the financial level, but that's not a concern to me. But if they're not trying to create something or trying to make some sort of impact that can be measured, then it honestly becomes distracting. I used to have a friend who would just talk about like, she was a nice person. She was like a fun person to be around, a good time. You want to invite her to a dinner party, she's gonna like tell all the stories.
Yeah.
But eventually, like, where does the conversation land? Like, I don't leave that dinner thinking like, man, I really feel enriched from this experience. And she actually helped me get to where I'm going. It feels like a distraction. So anything in my life that ends up being a distraction, if I'm really serious about what I want to do, I can't have it.
Right.
I'm trying to impact the lives of 1 million business owners. I'm like, I'm actually trying to build something that's cool and that helps people. If I either have to say, I'm not really willing to do what it takes because I'm going to spend my time being all sorts of like distracted and like floating over here and then sometimes focus on this thing, or I'm going to go after this thing. So people who are just like good time people, they've eventually kind of faded out in my life, especially over the last 6 years, just because I don't have time. Like there's no space for them. I have time for my husband, for my family, for my team members, for my clients, and my family and my clients and my team members. Like they become in some ways my friends. I'm not confused about it. We're not like going to the bar and like drinking together. Like that, they're not that kind of friend. But like I support them. I'm helping them make better decisions in their lives. And because of that, they respect me. And we're able to go from having 0 employees to hundreds of team members and people that you couldn't ask a single team member of mine, like, what's the behind the scenes with Natalie, and have them say anything but she's really intense and she cares about what she does every single day. And she is who she says she is. If you like what she says, then you'll like her. If you don't like what she says, then probably not the thing for you.
I love straight shooters. I grew up on the East Coast, so that's the only style I know.
You just like go straight for it.
Yeah, when I moved out to LA, I was like, man, people are just Just tell me the truth straight to my face. Like,
the
why are you talking
worst.
behind my back and stuff?
It's kind of a West Coast thing. I grew up in Portland, Oregon. I feel like it's just like the nice thing to do. I was not always a straight shooter. I had to learn how to be a straight shooter. But I respect people who are straight shooters.
I personally love it because I don't take things personally when I'm getting advice. A lot of people do for some reason, but I want to get better. Like, yeah, tell me advice. And if I respect you, like, I'm going to listen.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing better than me in business and life, whatever I'm trying to learn from you, I'm going to listen.
Yeah. That's why I like Grant and Elena so much is they had a relationship. And obviously you had this experience because you went to Growth Con.
Yeah. And they've both been on the show. I've learned so much from them. They've been great guests.
Yeah. Like how do you build a marriage of 20 years and have kids and a business where people are rooting for you? Like when you actually try building a business and having a marriage, I don't have kids, so I can't speak to that one. It's freaking hard. This shit's hard. And to be a good person through all of that and have somebody watch you handle it, it's just challenging. And it's honestly, I think that's more so than the strategies and the tactics. That's more so why people don't build bigger businesses because they don't have the support, or they treat their team members who are their family. Like I view my team members as also the extension is my family. They don't actually treat them very well. They're like the guy or the girl to everybody else, but behind closed doors, they're like weird with money, or they have like just these weird limitations and negative behaviors to where you talk to the wife and the wife is like, oh yeah, he's great to everybody else, but he's not great to me. It's a huge red flag to me.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't want to be around that person, but it's more frequent than not.
Yeah, I learned that from Elena. She had a viral clip saying you never talk badly about your spouse. And I used to do that when I'm in an 8-year relationship. I used to do that early on, but yeah, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's so childish.
Yeah, because they're your partner.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're going to talk bad about this person? You chose this person. You're on a team with them. That's part of what got me excited about Grant's content, was listening to Elena talk about stuff like that. It's so logical, and yet no one talks about it. In fact, for most women today, what do we talk about? Oh, you have a girls' night and you talk about your husband and how much of a jerky is. Like, that's normal. That's actually not normal. It doesn't make any sense. That's the person that you go to sleep with and you build a life with, and yet we're just going to talk shit about them. What does that really say about you?
Crazy.
Not great things.
Yeah, a lot of toxic relationships at the younger ages, for sure. I think people just pick up on it and they don't lose that bad habit, you know?
You think that there are so many options out there. It's like there's all of these apps, there's OnlyFans, there's all this stuff out there that just makes it seem like it's a commodity instead of something that's really special. And when you find somebody, you have to create on it. There's not just another person that you can just like magically whip up and create to build a life with.
Yeah. Well, Instagram's pretty much a dating app at this point.
Is it?
From what I hear, yeah. I haven't been in the dating game for a while, but that's
been off the market for 8 years.
Yeah. Getting married this year. Yeah. Big
Congratulations.
step. I'm excited.
When?
October.
Okay. What day?
17th.
Okay. Mine's the 10th.
Oh, you're getting married too?
No, my anniversary is the 10th.
Oh, nice. October 10th. Nice. Yeah, we wanted a fall wedding on the East Coast. Flowers and everything. Can't wait.
Best decision ever.
Yeah.
They tell you it's a ball and chain. It's the greatest thing ever.
Got a lot of people trying to talk me out of it. Well, there's this, have you heard of the red pill movement? No? Okay. So you isolate yourself pretty well on social media.
Yeah.
You're very targeted with what you consume.
Yeah. Like if it's not positive and it's not business stuff, I'm not.
Well done.
Watching
Not a lot of people operate that way on social media. They call it doom scrolling.
Uh-huh.
They're just seeing all sorts of content. I see deaths on my Instagram, like people dying.
Wow.
I see like half naked girls.
It's very turbulating. Like how do you build something?
No, it desensitizes you.
Confusing. Like I'm freaking confused. What am I doing right now? Am I watching somebody die? Am I watching this half naked girl? Am I going and building this business? Am I going and helping people? Like I'm freaking confused.
It sucks, yeah. But for me, I have to study viral content. So I have to scroll, you know, or else I'll not get as many views. I'll not have interesting guests. I'm constantly looking for cool people to have on, why this video is going viral. So I'm studying the algorithm. But yeah, stuff like that will pop up. It's super disturbing.
I'd like to be able to figure out how you can like do this without having this like interbulation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
If I have any ideas on this, I'll be thinking about you for the next while until I figure out how you can do this in a different way. Cause that like, how do you stay freaking focused?
It's tough. And my attention span has gone down a lot. And they're doing studies on this now because of the scrolling. People's attention spans are shorter than a goldfish now. Isn't that crazy?
To think how capable human beings are. To think of how much potential we have. I mean, the ability to build empires, the ability to build Las Vegas or Dubai out of just sand. And to think that we're allowing ourselves to just get like caught in this very silly trap. It's just a trap. It's a trap we created. Somebody's profiting off of this trap. It's like we have all of this capability and all of this potential to write books, to create poems, to fall in love. And like our attention span is now that of a goldfish because of a trap that we're like happily walking in.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Like, why are we doing that?
It is interesting. The people that invented the scrolling are like, I heard they're really upset.
Well, they're really upset. Why are they upset?
Because they ruin society in a way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, kids' attention spans. I feel bad for teachers now. Like, I can't even imagine teaching a kid of 20 kids with TikTok on their phone. Must be super difficult. I could barely pay attention when I was in school. I can't even imagine how it is now.
Just getting them to focus.
Yeah.
I mean, it does beg the question, like, what are people trying to distract us from? What's happening?
Could be by design, right?
Yeah, people don't want us medicated. They want us distracted. Who profits off of that?
A lot.
People.
Powerful people.
People want us to just not ask questions, really look and pay attention. So if you're on ADHD medication because you think that you have a problem with anxiety, but your anxiety is created from this, you can't really see what's actually happening around you. But somebody profits from all of that. And I don't think it's the person actually taking the drugs.
That's why you're in the health and wellness space, right?
Exactly why we're in.
Fixing a big problem there.
Yeah. But back to this red pill thing and the marriage. So what is this?
So red pill movement is basically the counter to feminism.
What does that mean?
The feminist movement was like a big deal, like maybe 5-7 years ago. I don't remember the exact timeline, but then the red pill spawned after that to empower men.
We're empowering men?
Yeah. So that's the red pill movement.
That's what we're doing these days?
That's what people are doing. Yeah.
We're empowering men to do what? What are men unempowered to do?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay. This is wild.
Yeah. You got to check out the red pill movement.
This is breaking news. So you have friends who are like red pill movement.
I wouldn't say friends.
They're people. They're people online.
Yeah. People online. They've been on the show as well. A lot of them are saying just marriage is a scam. Marriage isn't worth it for a guy. Marriage isn't worth it for a high value net worth guy. Stuff like that.
Because they can have whoever they want.
Yeah. That kind of logic, I think. Yeah. It is interesting. But I'm doing it. I'm not letting it get to me. I really trust and believe in my fiance. You know?
Just to contribute to the to the confusion, to try to clear up my own on the confusion. I trust men in business who have spouses that can say, I vouch for this person. I will do business with that person. This is a bias that I have, but I think a lot of people actually have. There is something about somebody who is 50 years old who cannot figure out how to get their home life in a place where they're able to keep somebody who is excited to be with them and vouching for them and is happily married and also positively contributing to society. It's one thing to be able to just like have a trophy wife. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this particular topic. It's one thing to just like have a trophy wife when you're sitting at dinner with Jamie Dimon, when you're sitting at dinner with anybody that you respect. What does their wife say about them? It's the first question I ask. And maybe it is because I'm a woman, but I'm so curious, like, what does that person's wife have to say? Because I want to know their perspective, because that's who I'm getting into business with.
Right.
And who they are to their spouse and to their kids and to the people that matter to them really does have an impact on the way that they do business. And if there's out ethics in that situation, I know that they're going to fuck me in our business. I know it every single time. Every single time I ignore this, I'm like, oh, it doesn't really matter. There's a situation with somebody very public that we were interested in doing business with, and there was this huge scandal with their significant other. And I'm like, absolutely not. Pull the ripcord out. If they're willing to do this to their spouse, they will do this to me in a heartbeat.
Wow.
You can't trust that person. So this like disassociation where like, I don't want to have a spouse. I don't want to be married. It's more rewarding for me to be with a bunch of people. I'd be interested to hear how that pans out for people who decide to move forward with this men empowerment movement when they're 80, 90 years old and haven't built a life with somebody who really trusts them, validate them, and like has deep respect for who they are. I get that like I could just have a bunch of women, like that's cool until it's not.
Yeah.
Until you're sick. Who cares about you when you're sick and you have 12 different people that you've just been sleeping around casually hooking up with? Like what is their self-worth? Anyway, it's just like it's a whole slew of problems that creates.
No, I'm with you. There's no long-term data on it yet because it's a newer trend, I guess. But
red pill
movement.
Yeah, what is the red pill? You like take a red pill?
I guess it's like, have you seen The Matrix?
No.
Oh, you haven't seen The Matrix?
No.
What? It's a classic.
I'll add it.
There's a
to my
famous
list.
scene where it's like, take the red pill and leave the Matrix, or take the blue pill and stay as an NPC. Like,
Oh.
you know,
Oh, so marriage is the Matrix.
basically, yeah.
And like, we don't want to do the Matrix. We want to like
Escape the
live
Matrix.
life
Yeah.
as men. But haven't men been able to like screw whoever they wanted and just like have fake marriages for a long time? Hasn't that been a thing
Yeah.
for a very long time? Like since the dawn of time?
Yeah. It's been a thing for a bit.
Okay. But like,
I'd love to see you on a podcast with a red pill movement
I
guy.
would love to hear this. I would love to.
Would you ever
talk to
debate?
somebody.
I could set that up for you.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Okay. We're going to have to do that next
I
time.
don't know what the heck this has to do with business owners, but happy to have this conversation.
Let's do it. I could get you Myron Gaines, or I could get you Rolo. They're both the faces of the movement.
Oh, great. Would love this.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting.
Would love to talk. So these men just like hook up with a bunch of women.
Yeah. So they have multiple girlfriends.
Cool. Can the girlfriends come on the show too?
They never have their girls on it.
Oh, that makes sense.
What they'll do is they'll have on 8 girls,
Uh-huh.
and he'll just roast them the whole episode
He'll roast them about marriage.
about their lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah. So he'll like, is
Married?
belittle the right word? I don't know.
Are
He'll
the
just talk
girls
down to
married?
them. Some of them are, some of them aren't. He's had 2,000 girls as guests, so it varies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But see, I want like,
But for you, I would do a one-on-one debate with him.
but the right way to debate with him is to bring the girls that he's casually hooking up with. Like, great.
To question them.
Yes, if we're going to talk about men's empowerment, let's talk about everybody else that's connected to the whole situation and see how well they're doing in life.
Let's do that. I'll have him bring his girls. You'll bring Brandon.
Great.
You guys question each other. Sit
Down.
together.
Let's
That'd be
do it.
hilarious.
I'm down.
All right, cool.
Let's get it scheduled.
Well, stay tuned for that, guys. Natalie, anything else you want to close off with?
This has been awesome. I'm rooting for you. I hope you do a lot of cool things with a lot of cool people, and just really excited to be on the show. And thank you for having me.
Awesome. We'll link 10x Cardone Ventures below. Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.